In today's video, we delve into the implications of Trump's fossil fuel diplomacy, particularly in the wake of the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. As the world grapples with climate change, we'll explore how this administration's agenda has shifted from climate leadership to a focus on promoting fossil fuels globally. We'll discuss the strengthening of ties with oil-rich nations, the undermining of renewable energy efforts, and what it means for future climate diplomacy and international relations. Join us as we break down the long-term impacts of this pivot on global energy dynamics and the environment. 1. Global fossil fuel promotion. During Trump's tenure, the United States aggressively promoted its fossil fuel exports on the global stage. In international forums and bilateral trade negotiations, Trump framed liquefied natural gas, LNG, and crude oil as essential to economic growth and energy security. This approach not only emphasized the economic benefits of fossil fuels but also presented them as tools for geopolitical influence. The administration's focus was clear: position the U.S. as a dominant energy supplier, thereby leveraging energy exports to strengthen alliances and influence global markets. Such strategies reflected a broader vision of energy as a cornerstone of national power. 2. Energy dominance agenda abroad. The Trump administration's energy dominance agenda was not confined to domestic policy. Internationally, it prioritized deals that boosted U.S. fossil fuel exports, often at the expense of climate-focused discussions. By sidelining climate concerns, the administration aimed to secure lucrative energy agreements, reinforcing the U.S.'s role as a leading energy provider. This approach was a marked departure from previous administrations that had worked to balance energy interests with climate commitments. The overarching goal was to ensure that U.S. fossil fuels occupied a central role in the global energy market, even if it meant dismissing climate considerations. 3. Shift from climate leadership to fossil fuel advocacy. Historically, the U.S. had been a key player in global climate agreements, pushing forward initiatives to curb greenhouse gas emissions. However, Trump's administration took a starkly different route. Rather than leading climate efforts, it actively opposed initiatives to limit fossil fuel production. This shift in stance significantly undermined collective climate action, sending a message that economic interests in fossil fuels outweighed environmental concerns. The U.S.'s pivot from climate leadership to fossil fuel advocacy not only altered international perceptions but also weakened the global resolve to address climate change collaboratively. 4. Undermining renewable energy. In its diplomatic engagements, the Trump administration frequently downplayed the importance of renewable energy. Instead of championing wind, solar, and other clean energy sources, U.S. diplomats and trade representatives pushed for increased investments in oil, gas, and coal projects. This approach signaled to other nations that the U.S. prioritized fossil fuels over renewables. By neglecting the potential of clean energy, the administration missed opportunities to foster international partnerships focused on sustainable development. This stance not only affected international agreements but also stunted the growth of the global renewable energy sector. 5. Stronger ties with oil-rich nations. Trump's foreign policy bolstered relationships with major oil-producing countries, such as Saudi Arabia and Russia. By aligning U.S. policy with their fossil fuel interests, the administration prioritized energy over environmental goals. These strengthened ties reflected a shared interest in maintaining and expanding fossil fuel markets. As a result, the U.S. found itself more aligned with nations resistant to global climate goals, further distancing itself from international climate agreements. This realignment of alliances underscored the administration's commitment to fossil fuel diplomacy, even if it meant sidelining climate concerns. 6. Paris Agreement fallout. The U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement had far-reaching implications. It discouraged other countries from strengthening their climate commitments, reducing the momentum for global climate cooperation. Without the leadership of one of the world's largest economies and polluters, many nations hesitated to enhance their climate goals. This lack of commitment hindered progress towards achieving the agreement's objectives. The U.S. exit served as a catalyst for reevaluating commitments, leading some countries to question the efficacy of multilateral climate agreements without U.S. participation. 7. Focus on bilateral energy deals. Trump's administration placed a significant emphasis on bilateral energy trade deals, prioritizing LNG exports to Europe and Asia. This approach further isolated the U.S. from multilateral climate initiatives. By choosing bilateral over multilateral agreements, the administration focused on immediate economic gains rather than long-term environmental goals. This strategy not only alienated traditional allies but also signaled a preference for transactional relationships over collaborative efforts. The emphasis on bilateral deals highlighted the administration's prioritization of economic interests over global climate challenges. 8. Increased fossil fuel investments. U.S. foreign policy under Trump encouraged both private and public investments in fossil fuel projects worldwide. This included pipelines, power plants, and drilling operations, perpetuating a global dependency on carbon-intensive energy sources. By promoting these investments, the administration contributed to the persistence of fossil fuels in the global energy mix. Such policies delayed the transition to cleaner energy alternatives, reinforcing the status quo. The focus on fossil fuel investments highlighted a commitment to traditional energy sources, even amid growing calls for sustainability. 9. Climate diplomacy vacuum. The U.S.'s retreat from climate leadership created a vacuum in global climate diplomacy. This absence allowed other nations, notably China and the European Union, to step in and shape international climate policies. These countries seized the opportunity to position themselves as leaders in the fight against climate change. With the U.S. on the sidelines, they advanced their agendas, promoting clean energy and sustainable practices. This shift in leadership dynamics underscored the global importance of collaborative climate action and the risks associated with unilateral approaches. 10. Long-term global impact. By prioritizing fossil fuel diplomacy, the U.S. delayed the global transition to clean energy. This decision increased the risk of more severe climate change impacts, undermining efforts to achieve net zero emissions. The focus on fossil fuels not only affected current environmental goals but also posed challenges for future generations. As the world grapples with the consequences of climate change, the implications of these policies will be felt for years to come. The emphasis on fossil fuels serves as a reminder of the critical need for sustainable energy solutions in addressing global climate challenges.